Kory, and this is Spencer, and this is the Spencer and Kory, or Kory and Spencer show. We might have decided by now. And if theme music played beforehand, hope you enjoyed that, but I'm not even sure if we were set on that, so,
This is a brand new show. We're on episode 2 of our first series, which doesn't really have a title either. We're really just going. We're taking action without full well knowing everything, and I think that's what it's about, you know.
We don't really have to figure anything out. Have you ever thought, I don't know, and that's okay?
I actually love that when people ask me a specific question, and I just look at them and I say, I don't know. And some people get kind of mad because they, expect you to know.
Right.
But you just don't know, so you tell them that, and they get really frustrated. It's funny.
What if you could just not know and love that? And that's fine. You don't need to know everything, but a lot of people make a problem out of... That's exactly what confusion is. I don't know, and I should know, but I need to know now, and they get all hung up on.
But I don't, so I should probably go look it up, and instead I'll be upset about it. Oh man.
By the way, we have no idea what we're talking about here. It came in with no ideas. We just hit record.
Yeah, so you can see how extremely easy this is, really. But
that was close to a minute and a half of us just hit record, go for it.
Yeah. We should pull some ideas out of a hat at some point in time. Maybe.
Totally.
Yeah,
totally.
Just what are we going to do today?
We have things we want to talk about. Just pull one out. Okay, looks like we got non-judgmental looking, or whatever.
Yeah.
Or, fitness and you.
Or
how lame does that sound?
Yes, exactly.
Fitness and you.
Fitness and you. No, hey, that's not bad, actually. That'd probably be a great website. Hey, don't steal our ideas.
That
copyright everything.
Right.
Right. Copyright.
Copyright.
Yeah, I mean, what can our subject be today? I mean, we were out there talking. We were having a great view. You know, my house is on a hill, and actually, because of the rain, we have El Nino this past week, right? We had a little bit of rain.
It actually came down here down south.
Right, and you were out of town, so...
Yes, actually, that was, we could go into a little bit of that if we want.
Yeah, man, you were telling me some crazy stuff that was happening.
I was out in, Union, Missouri, is where I was staying. I'm from a little town called St. Clair, out there in Missouri, and we had the heaviest rain we've ever had in the history of recorded weather for that area. It broke all the records. The flooding was worse than the flood of, I think, 82 and the flood of 93, which I wasn't alive for the flood of 82, and I was born in 93, so I might have been around. But, I don't recall them. But we were going through this flooding. Buildings were underwater. Houses were being covered. I did a little volunteer work and helped some people, evacuate their homes. But it was incredible, and
there were literally buildings underwater, right?
There was a Quick Trip and a Jack in the Box, a McDonald's. The water was up to the top.
Is a Quick Trip like a gas station?
It's a gas station.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry if that was
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. But you encounter all these people that are going through this tragedy, and you get an idea that they think that this is the end of the world kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really kind of who some of this message is targeted at, if we had a target. But those are the people that I would love to hear this, that think that the world is over just because something bad happened to your house, or,
or something bad happens, just in general.
Right. And I'm sure they are freaking out, where are me and my kids gonna go? But that isn't the end of the world. That isn't... It doesn't have to come down to... Yes, you'd be more comfortable having your home. It would be nice, I guess. That's kind of a judgment there. But to have all those things that you've purchased. But to realize that you're not those things, and what's more important than any of those things is the beauty of being together as a family, of having each other still. And I hope that anyone listening to this didn't lose anyone in the flood, because addressing death is another subject that we could get into, but I'd rather not right now.
Yeah, no, not for this one. Later on, we'll maybe play some really heavy music and get into something like that. But yeah, it is a serious subject in the sense that we will address it in how we think about death. I think Kory and I reflect pretty similar views about death and after death, and and all these things. So anyway, moving off.
Before we get too far into that,
this is grim.
No, totally. I would like to say that for anyone that went through any kind of tragedy, whether it be the floods of Missouri or whatever else the rain brought, that's not the end of the world. It is a challenge. It doesn't have to be a problem. Mm-hmm. It's going to lead you somewhere, and a few years down the line, you may look back and say, that was actually a blessing in disguise. But if you could look at situations as they come up, and realize that this doesn't have to be a problem, that this could be the next blessing, that situations are only judged after the fact, whether they're a blessing or a curse. When you're going through them and you make yourself miserable, it's not until after it's over with that you realize that wasn't a huge deal.
Yep, exactly. And we got to always remember, too, like, if there is... I see people do this all the time. They have one particular item. Okay, we could use a kid because it's really, really simple. Kind of like your blanket, right? There's a lot of kids out there who grew up with something like that. Their blanket they never left without, or their pair of running shoes, whatever it was, right? I think at one point in time, like, mine was silly. I think it was like a pocket knife I carried everywhere with me. And it's like, I had to have the pocket knife. At this point, I don't even know why, but I just loved carrying the pocket knife. So obviously it meant something to me because I had to go through the actions every day. Probably after a while, automatically, I wasn't thinking about it, but to go pick that up, physically put it in my pocket, and actually, keep it there all day. That's actually takes action. So you can see I had an attachment of some sort to that. But I see this all the time. People lose something that they love or care about, and they literally feel like a piece of them is missing. But
they become so identified with that thing. They'd placed a piece of themselves outside of themselves.
And they are the ones that placed it. The item didn't demand anything from them. They didn't need anything from them. The item was complete just being the item. Right? A blanket doesn't need you to be continuing to be a blanket.
Right.
And we utilize these things as tools and maybe comforts in our life. And I really feel like today and age that people get so attached to things, especially because of what we talked about in our last episode, which was some marketing and ideas that were convinced about these items.
We'll try and convince a teenager or a 20-something-year-old to go a day without a cell phone.
Yeah, jeez.
Without iPhone or, Samsung Galaxy, whatever. If they lose that, they think it's the end of the world. Just like the flood thing, it would be just as serious to them. And it would be, all my work was in there and all my contacts, and I'm not going to get that text message today.
Photos, yeah.
There's another topic we can go off on, that your reactions to things that happen in life are literally under your control. Mm-hmm. And you can change them at any time. A lot of people don't realize that. They just think, I got cut off in traffic. That asshole, that son of a bitch. That's not just my reaction. That's a natural human thing. No, you could look at that and say, cool, that guy got in front of me. Or you could look at your lost phone and say, that's fine. I had my phone stolen, and I realized after a couple days what an incredible blessing that was. To not have to habitually check and see if I got that email, if I got that phone call. Mm-hmm. I still had a computer at home. If someone really needed to get a hold of me, they would have sent me an email. They'd have found me on Facebook. Whatever. But you are in control of your reactions to a situation. Any negative emotion that is caused from within you, and I'm branching off on a whole nother thing here.
Right.
But,
it's okay.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for, it's just... We're real people having real conversations to make a real impact.
And whatever flows through us, whatever comes out is what comes out.
That's right.
You are literally responsible for all your emotions. Hi, Morgan.
Hey, Kory.
Hey, you're on the...
That's fitness guru...
Kory and Spencer show.
I'm on the Kory and Spencer show.
Spencer and Kory show, I believe.
We really haven't figured out. We need to come up with probably a different name because we're going to just keep doing this forever.
Morgan, go get in the shower.
We'll just do the Kory and Spencer show and the Spencer and Kory show. This is both of those shows combined.
This is the Kory and Spencer and Kory show.
That's right.
All right, thanks for being with us today, Morgan.
It's the CSSC show.
Boom.
Yes.
My name starts with a K, though.
Oh, yeah, it's a K.
KSSK.
This just got awkward.
It's fine. It's fine.
This is weird.
I'm really not that attached or upset about that.
to my name. Perfect subject.
Um,
Okay, so I wanted to add something to that, if you wouldn't mind.
Where we were was, just to remind them, we were at how you are in charge of your emotions.
Yes.
They don't have power over you, you have power of them, and can control your reaction to any situation once you gain that awareness.
That's right. And so there was a story I shared on my Facebook a while ago. I did one of those really cheesy selfie videos that I uploaded, and I basically said, hey, here's something that's on my mind. And it's because I saw somebody at work. I was a manager at the time. This was before I started my business in Hawaii. I was a manager at the time at a resort in Hawaii where my girlfriend and I were living on Oahu. And I saw one of my employees drop and break their phone, right? And it just blew my mind how upset this person was over the phone. And, exactly what Kory said. The phone thing just kind of triggered all this. But it's a real life situation that I witnessed where someone was like literally almost crying. This is a man, supposed to be a man, right? And this is nothing against him. This is all has to do with our upbringing, our social conditioning and all that. I'm not picking on this person or his reaction, or if any of you react that way. It's okay, that you're just...
It is the best that you currently know to do.
Exactly. So don't feel bad. We're not targeting anyone. But what I am saying is that I witnessed this firsthand, and it sparked a little idea, and that's why I shared my cheesy little Facebook video where I talked about two different people, right? Same day, same situation, same weather conditions. You're walking along, you drop your phone and it breaks, right? Mm-hmm. Person A and person B. Person A is extremely upset, just like this person I saw at my work. Now, what happened next is what defined everything, right? It started to rain. Now, person A went into that situation, and he's going to compound it. Now, watch how this works. He saw the rain as the worst thing possible. Are you kidding me? I broke my phone, and now it's raining on me, and I'm getting soaked. What else could go wrong, right? That's
almost
person
like
A.
they go together.
Right, exactly. Like rain and your phone. There was an app that, whatever. And person B, so here's the difference right here, right? Person B drops and breaks his phone, same situation, and he goes, oh man, I really did enjoy that phone, but I'm glad I had it for the period of time I did. It helped me do a lot of things, transact business, whatever it was. I'll be able to rebuild my contacts list, or maybe I saved it to Google or something, right? He thinks a little more rationally before reacting.
Like, it's fine.
It's okay. And then the next part happens, and again, this defines everything for your character, is it starts to rain. And instead of going, oh my gosh, what else could go wrong, right? He goes, wow, this is a blessing. I cannot believe I have another day to feel and experience the power of rain. And that right there, he is probably going to go into that next event in his day, seeing so many more beautiful things and having a lot more opportunity and communicating with people in a lot more healthy way, I believe.
There's a saying. It says, the rain is the same, though it grows thorns in the marsh and flowers in the valley. Same exact situation.
Yeah.
Like the rain falls, and in your story it actually was rain falling and phone breaking, but it produced thorns for one guy, flowers for another guy. And that's another point that I had said earlier I wanted to bring up. As within, so without. The world that you see around you, you have your own filter and lens on it. You see it as you are. That first guy that sees it all as a problem and, oh, I can't believe this is happening to me. The world, to him, is a bad place. His mind is probably in a bad place. There's probably something going on inside him. And that upset over his phone, you can probably see what his attachment is, either to his phone or to his money, or whatever he's going to have to do to replace it. That second guy, he sees it all as beautiful and amazing. He's probably very clear-headed, has a very open and beautiful mind, and things going on inside him that are just wonderful. There's and I can't believe I'm bringing philosophy into this, but a Friedrich Nietzsche quote. It says something along the lines of, I'm probably going to completely mess this up, and that is totally fine. Something along the lines of, you can't help but think that the person that says the world is dreadful is not dreadful themselves.
They're probably not a pleasant person and saying, this place sucks.
Right. No, you suck. Or whatever.
Yeah. That's a perfect example right there. That shows you. Wow. And you know what? What this reminded me of is one of my favorite. It's actually... no, this is not a parable. I was going to say it's something from the Bible, which I wouldn't ever plan on bringing up because I'm a total amateur on the subject.
Right. It's totally fine to talk about that stuff, though.
Right. I just don't want to offer information that I'm not... I haven't looked into well enough because, but anyway, it is an opinion anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I thought this was a really neat little parable or story. Again, this one doesn't actually come from the Bible. But the story or the parable is, your mind is like a garden. Whatever you choose to plant in this garden, right, it will grow. If you nourish it, it will grow. It is fertile soil. You plant the seed, it will grow. Now, what is the seed? That is the powerful question. Because that's what you have the power of planting. Just like in your garden, maybe some things will blow in from outside, but if you take care of your garden, if you refresh your garden, if you understand how to grow a green garden that can help you and others around you, then you will have seeds coming in from outside that may be weeds, but you pick them up and you relocate them, or you exterminate them, whatever your method is of keeping a clean garden. The point is your mind is fertile soil, and if you begin to plant negative seeds personally, or you don't weed out negative seeds, eventually the weeds will overcome the fruit of maybe you're growing tomatoes and that was nourishing your mind and your soul and your body, and now you can't. So if you had some really positive ideas about yourself, if you nourish those, they will grow into something, not an ego. We're not talking about an ego. That'll be another subject we talk about later.
Totally.
But into a self-confidence that you understand that you are what you think about. You are what you plant in your garden.
And see, that brings me to the subject of awareness. You mentioned the weeds that grow in your garden. Most people have no idea they're there. They just think that... They don't even think about them being as they are. They just think they have all these negative situations that come up, and why does the world have to be like this, and I wish it didn't have to be. They don't take the time to watch themselves, to see a reaction that they'll have, and they don't take the time to think about, I didn't have to get angry at that, or why did I get angry at that? So they're not pulling the weeds out of their garden.
Right.
And they're not leaving themselves with just those nourishing plants, those vegetables that could lead to their success,
right,
or could lead to a better life, could just have nourishing fruits and vegetables, but instead they have their weeds. Or I guess that's a fair point.
Oh, now we're talking about marijuana, huh?
Not in a literal sense, but they have their drugs.
Right.
They have that ego stuff, that self stuff that leads to thrills and depressions and...
An endless chain that they're not aware that they're producing. And that's one of the unfortunate things about the education system, is that we are not taught these things. And I think one of the coolest things I like about Native Americans is that that's what they're built off of. And Kory, I know you have...
I'm a fraction of something. Somewhere with a Cherokee and Blackfoot, like an eighth, I think.
That's awesome.
Anyway, what do you love about Native Americans?
What I love is that the way they would carry on stories within their tribes. Now, I was not there. I don't know. I'm only going off of, information that I've studied.
Right, but you read all the time how much they treasured the land and how they'd never let a thing go to waste and how they would put value in everything around them.
Right. And they brought up their young people to live that way. They brought up their young people to care about each and every living thing, and also each and every non-living thing. They would not exterminate the land because they saw that as living. The ecosystem, the way everything connects. You need soil to grow the plant. You need the dead thing, or what we think of as dead, to grow the living thing. And that's the power of not only your mind, but also what we're lacking today in this generation is we really need self-education, self-awareness to start growing these fruits. And when I say fruits and vegetables in this garden, that's a literal sense in the physical world. But if I were to put that in an analogy or something that you can understand in a real sense between people, if I have the power to create my own confidence and my own trajectory in life, right? Setting my sail in the direction that I want to set my ship in, I now have the power to help other people, to hand them fruit, to hand them powerful things that contain the seeds. Remember, fruit and vegetables contain seeds to grow more of that beautiful subject. I can now hand them that to consume. And when they consume this information that holds the seed, that they can now learn to plant themselves in their own garden, to overtake those weeds, and then to also learn how to cater to their garden and remove the weeds themselves. I think that's when we become powerful.
And that actually is the point of this whole show. And you can only live in a place where you have this abundance of fruit and vegetables to give when you realize that there's nothing more to get. Or not that there's nothing more to get, but that you're not trying to get. That you don't look at people and say, what can I get from you? Can I take some of your fruits and vegetables? Because all I got's weeds here. But I want this to go out to those people that need nourishment and fruits and vegetables, and to hopefully take something from this and gain from us. Take what we have been reaping and sowing, and take what we have to offer.
And I gotta add something, because I could definitely feel that there may be someone in the crowd right now that would maybe...
It's funny to think that we might have a crowd, an audience, like, someone out there in the crowd, how y'all doing tonight?
Hey, where's that fake cheering button? Do we have one of those?
We'll do it.
But I really, really want this to go out to somebody who may be thinking about themselves right now, because oftentimes when we hear information, we are obviously processing it through our own personal filter and saying, does this apply to me or not? I think our information will apply to a very large amount of people, because we've been there, we're going through it, and some of you are older, maybe you've already gone through it, and you're sitting there going, wow, they're far behind. But hey, we're on our own journey, and that's what I wanted to mention. We are not perfect people. We're not trying to be perfect people. We do not have all the answers. We are currently living life. I'll probably in the next hour or two go eat a meal. It takes time to fix that meal. I'm not a humanoid robot that can do impossible things like Superman and the things we create in movies.
I would like to express the same sentiment as Spencer. While we may talk about, going above the illusion or even borderline enlightenment, we don't want to make any claim to being any better than any one of you.
Right.
We don't want to make any claim that we found it or we're there. But we would like to tell you about our journey and where we are now and where we will be in the future.
Yeah, we definitely want to share our peace of mind. I definitely know that I haven't worried about anything in a really long time. And to tell you what, that's what I wanted to share right now, is my backstory of the pain. These are the things I think we don't see with a lot of people when they've hit success. Or you know how there's the overnight success, but really it took 20 years to build up to the overnight success?
Right.
It took 20 years for the musician to really become good at his craft. And then one day he got on the Ellen DeGeneres show.
And that's when they say instant success.
Right, and they're like, where did this guy come from? He's just all of a sudden on Ellen's show. It's like, yeah, but 20 years. And there's a quote that I love, and that it's, you'll get praised in public for what you practice in private. You have to put time into these things. So us being in this situation where we feel at peace and everything, we've gone through hell, trust me.
See, I feel content almost all the time. I'll experience my fleeting moments of not quite irritation, but I'll be impassioned about something, and it'll look like I'm not, thrilled and happy and whatever, but those are just fleeting things. I'm not dwelling or anxious about anything, but I'll get excited, or I'll see a wrong that needs corrected, but I am completely content and at peace otherwise. There's and I'm kind of tangenting here now, but there's a Buddhist saying, I believe it's from the Bhagavad Gita, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
I don't know. You know more about this subject than I do, definitely.
Charge into the heart of battle and keep your heart at the lotus feet of the Lord. Pretty much be ready to do anything. Go into war if you must, but keep your heart completely at ease. So when we talk about happiness or being at peace, it's that state of just being internally calm, having no internal conflict, but being able to do whatever needs done.
And something very powerful that I would like to add is that does not mean we don't feel emotion. That does not mean we don't feel fear.
Far from it. We
anxiety.
are very much connected to our emotions.
Exactly. And now we understand them. Instead of before being like, why I'm so scared right now. Now it's like, wow, I'm feeling fear. This is a good thing. That means I'm stretching my limits and abilities. It's like you kind of have an understanding, like you're standing outside of that thing. You're not within it anymore where you can't see the outside world. Now it's like you almost look at that as, okay, does this serve me right now or not? Does this serve the situation? If the fear makes you run faster from the avalanche and it keeps you alive, then it served you in that situation.
And that is exactly primal fear.
Right.
And we'll get into this more with awareness stuff, but it's about the I observing me. It's about watching yourself and observing as an outsider, almost as if you're another person.
Right.
But on that feeling emotions topic, how most people, and I hate to generalize like this, but how a lot of people feel their emotions is they judge their emotions. Like, I'm sad and that's wrong. Or, I'm sad and I shouldn't be sad. How do I get happy again? Like, I get sad sometimes, but just be there and feel your sadness. Be there with the sadness. Don't run away from it.
And don't build into it.
Right, and you'll find it'll go away.
Right.
Don't cling to it and make it your story. Like, people will say, I am depressed. Like, you're not your depression. More accurately, I am currently feeling depressed. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't have to become your identity. But you do not want to even, but you do still feel your emotions.
Definitely.
But you realize that they're not you. You can look at them from an outside perspective and realize that those things that we judge as negative emotions would be things like sadness, anger, fear. But they're all learning tools. Yeah. They're all, each one of those, if you sit with it for 5 to 7 minutes and don't run out and take antidepressants or whatever, will lead to a realization about yourself. You'll see that you got sad over a situation, and you'll realize the deeper underlying thing behind that sadness. And you don't need a shrink. You don't, everyone wants to get away from their problems so quickly.
Yeah.
You don't need antidepressants. Something like, I don't want to take a guess at statistics, but a very large percentage of Americans are on antidepressants.
Unfortunately, yeah. They've been told that that's the only way to cure things. And it's sad, and well, even the medical industry, they make claims that it won't cure you. However, the doctors almost talk about it like it's your only option, when really it's like,
Well, the doctors get a kickback.
Yeah, we're gonna get into this later, because I really do believe that 99.999% of doctors are really doing what they're doing because they care about people. I really do believe that. However, they've gone through a system of, in my opinion, indoctrination on the subjects of medication and all that stuff, and there's a lot of money behind it, and money today means everything. It's kind of like oxygen. So anyway, getting away from that, I wanted to say something about the word fear. I think fear is a very broad term nowadays, because there's so many things that can be inhabited within that.
Things like worry, anxiety, stress, they're all kind of lumped together under fear.
Right, and it's almost like, okay, fear. Everyone says, like, be fearless, be this, don't feel fear. The only thing to fear is fear itself. And it's like, okay, I hear what you're saying, but put that in, almost break it down a little bit more for me. So, for me, what fear is it's that feeling when, for instance, right now, we're going to go record this, and Kory and I might look at each other, and we have this slight little feeling within our stomach or our chest, and it's a negative feeling. It's at first a negative pull, right? And you have this, like, moment of doubt, right? And you're like, what are we going to talk about? And in the past, that may have actually affected us. We may have even not come on the show today.
Well, I had never done this kind of thing before for fear. And it took the realizing that, and realizing another thing about fear is that the way to get through it is to go through it, is to just attack it. Before we recorded that first episode, I had all these thoughts coming to mind about how anxious I was and kind of afraid of doing this, or afraid of people's opinions, which now I love and can't wait to hear. But I came to this realization about loving yourself, and that is the way through fear. Mm-hmm. That when you love yourself first, not, don't love other people because they don't matter, because you are all there is, but just love yourself more than you love other people's opinions. Love yourself more than whatever, and there's no need for those kinds of fears. Primal fear will still exist. If a tiger is chasing you, you're going to be afraid. But
hopefully you feel that need to run.
Maybe you won't mind. I don't know. I'm not there yet.
Now, Kory,
Yes, Spencer.
actually, I want to add something to that really fast because you reminded me. When I was in Thailand, Morgan and I got to spend some time with tigers. And these are very awake. They're not sedated. I know all these people comment about on Yelp and whatnot. And I forgot the other main travel site a lot of people use. But they all say, like, tigers are sedated and whatever. It's like, okay, hang on a second. Morgan, my girlfriend, has had cats her whole life. And the first thing she said when we walked in there, she just started laughing. She's like, they're cats. They literally act exactly like cats, right? And I'm going somewhere with this, so hang on. She said, now, cats sleep during the day. They play at night. They hunt at night, right? That's really what cats are built for. And then they might mosey around, but for the most part, during the daytime, you'll see them laying down longer than walking around. And that's what these cats are doing. So I just wanted to add that little caveat. These tigers were very awake, very alive, and that is the first time I've ever felt fear in this way. I had never been around a predator or something that in the real world outside of these societies that we build for ourselves that would literally have no problem doing what it would do with you. And I felt an intense fear. They actually wanted me to lay on the tiger, right? And so I'm sitting down and I'm getting ready to lay on the tiger, and the thing just looks up at me, and its head is wider than my chest. Like, the thing is 300 or 400, I think he said it was like 400 or 500 pounds. Oh my gosh. It comes up to my mid-belly, its back. So its head comes up to almost my neck. And the thing is just massive. So anyway, this fear I felt was unbelievable. I couldn't even get myself to lay on the tiger. I really couldn't. Because I felt like this thing was going to turn around and eat me like that. So,
If I may.
Go ahead.
See, I'm glad you brought that up, because I want to point out the difference here between primal fear and other fear. That is not fear brought on by thought.
Mm-hmm.
That is observing that, and not even thinking about, but just observing that this thing could rip me in two. And it's just something that your body naturally feels.
Right.
Other types of fear that people experience are their anxieties about the world and what are people going to think. Those are the kinds of fears that your reactions control, that are just your thoughts, that don't need to be there. You know what I'm talking about.
I do. And it's, that's the thing. So I guess...
I do want to go more into that, but we are 32 minutes, 20 seconds in, right? It does not feel like it's been that long at all.
Well, should we give you guys, maybe our second episode, we'll do a 45-minute bit audio, and then we'll cut it? Or what do you want to do?
I don't want to edit anything down. Just like the first episode, this is going up raw. If we have anything more to say,
I feel like we do.
Another.
I feel like we do. Because if we cut ourselves off, I feel like we're cheating. I feel like we're cheating you guys out there listening to us.
You're right. 35 minutes doesn't have to be the deadline.
Yeah, there's
we
no
can go to
reason
45.
There's exactly.
Really, if you want to cut out now, though, thank you. It's been real.
Yeah.
We were happy to have you. If you'd like to continue, we're going to keep going with this.
That's right. So I guess the whole reason I brought up the whole fear thing is because I hear people speaking all the time, and for the longest period of my life, when I was really starting to grasp this stuff and wanting to grasp more about myself, understand who I am, that I'm not really the story that I'm telling myself that I am. And I would see these speakers on stage, and I'd be like, well, why are they fearless? Why do they not feel any anxiety or anything? And I do. I must not be the same as them. I must not be capable of the things that they are capable of. And that's why I brought this up, because I want to prove to you that you are capable of what any other person in this world is capable of. The difference is are you telling yourself you can, or are you telling yourself you can't? Now, either way, you're right on that subject, by the way. Right, Kory?
Yeah,
You have something to add there?
No, it's just funny. Like, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
It's true, because...
No, it totally is.
You tell yourself, I'm going to go for this. I think I can do it. Like, even though you said I think and you weren't certain about it, at least you said you were moving towards a positive direction with this.
Even if you didn't say I think, it's still a thought.
Right. Good point. True, right?
It's a belief that you hold about yourself.
This is
and
true.
we'll get into more about beliefs in
a
the
later
future.
episode,
Right.
yeah.
So you have that to look forward to.
Definitely. So
I
stick
point at
with
the
us.
mic like it's our audience.
You out there. You felt that. We know you did. But what was it talking about? Oh my gosh. It's so funny how that happens.
We had gone from tigers to fear
Yes.
to thoughts to when you realize that you're not the
think
story
I
and the
can't.
people on stage,
That's
and
right.
I can't.
Okay,
There
okay.
we're back on track, folks.
Yes, sometimes, hey, your brain works that way. It's a magnificent machine. So I can or I can't. If you look at a subject, I want to use something most people do. Fitness. Here we go. I can or I can't lose weight. That's a huge subject for most people, right? There's a lot of unhealthy people walking around right now. A lot of diabetic, heart disease, fun stuff, cancer. I know we all know someone going through it. There are ways to deal with this. However, here's one thing I want to add about that. I can or I can't, right? The person that says I can lose weight will try everything until they do lose weight. It's not a question of if it's possible or not. Because your body is designed like a machine, right? And machines do certain things. And it's proven that if you put better gas or fuel in a machine, it operates better than the lower grade fuel. And that's just one little idea to this. There's a lot of different ways to lose weight. The question is, what is healthy? That's a whole nother subject we'll get to in a later time because we're both health fanatics. But the question is, I can or I can't, right? That's the subject matter.
Now, I want to throw in a little caveat here. That an I can type thought is much healthier than an I can't type thought. Mm-hmm. And this is something that I want to cover, again, in a later thing when I have more time to talk about Zen.
Okay.
But it was through my studies and practices of Zen and Zen meditations that I came to the conclusion that no thought is better than even a positive thought. You just figure out what you want to do, and you do it. There's no reason to think about it. You just, like, it's a funny thing. Like, there's negative thoughts, there's positive thoughts, then there's no thoughts. Which, if anyone out there has practiced mindfulness or meditation, then you'll know that you literally just do what you are doing.
And that takes training, right? It's not
So-
like someone's going to be like, thoughtless on a subject.
Well, there are stories of instant enlightenment, but
Right.
I don't think that comes very easily.
Okay.
You've got to be at the perfect mindset, have the proper master. Someone says something in particular to you, but no, it doesn't just come.
And does a master have to be somebody in person, or could it be an audio? Could it be, what does a master mean to you?
A master is anyone or anything that teaches you what you need to know.
So
It
even
could
like
be a book. It could be
the laws of the universe, the way the world functions.
right. It could be a tree out in the yard. It
Could be a master.
Right.
I
If
like
you
that.
look at it and you learn something valuable about your life, that tree is your master.
Yeah.
Not your master as in it owns you, but as a teacher.
Right.
It
That's
is-
powerful because now if we talk about something like, here are thoughts I've thought of before, and I think most people do, and obviously it's why we have them. An airplane is shaped after a bird. This is pretty obvious, actually. Most people blatantly say they actually take designs from the way a bird may work, the way it glides, not the way it flaps its wings to gain altitude.
Wouldn't that be ridiculous, though?
With
If
motor-
an airplane had, like, wings that
They
flap?
have some actual like mechanisms out there that, who knows?
Those, like,
YouTube-
personal solo flying machines?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Who knows where you're like
Anyway.
Flintstones or anyway, yeah. So, we learn off of anything and everything around us. So I think it's funny when people may even say that animals are beneath us because we learn so many things from an animal. We've learned how to drive as fast as the cheetah. Why do we compare it to the cheetah? Because he's groundbreaking speeds for an animal, right? So we look at him as a leader in the situation, a master, a teacher. And like Kory mentioned, a tree. You could honestly learn from a tree how to maybe stand still in the wind.
Right, there are so many philosophies,
Yeah.
very popular points, very powerful points made about trees. And because a tree can be viewed so many ways, and it's a very natural thing, a very large
The
natural
roots,
thing.
everything from the, how it anchors itself into the earth.
And we'll get more into trees later when we talk about concepts and labels.
A full episode on trees, guys.
All the different
Maybe
languages
we
you
will.
can say tree in, the color of the leaves.
would be cool, huh?
Did you know they change in the fall? It's incredible.
Wow.
Anyway, you were on the I can, I can't mindset.
Yes, so to finish that, we love to just so you guys understand our process. We may not, at points in time, we may not complete a certain subject, and that's okay, because there's never a completion anyway. It's
Right, this is completely unscripted. We're going off each other here, back and forth. This is how we flow. I mean, if we come back to a subject, we come back to it. Mm-hmm. If not, and you'd like to hear more, let us know.
Yeah.
And we will make sure we come back to it at a future time.
Definitely. And so just to finish off that I can't subject, because I hopefully this will really help somebody out there. When you say I can, like Kory said, you're putting more power in your court, right? You're able to do the thing, because let's be honest, you either do something or you don't do it. There is no gray area. I know a lot of us, when we are not aware of ourselves, we use the word I try. I try to do this, I try to do that. And I used to use that word a lot. And that was my scapegoat. Sure, I'll try to do it. Hey, can you get this done by tomorrow? I'll try. It meant if I didn't get it done, that I wasn't obligated to any sort of negative repercussion or emotion from not completing it. However, I was also saying, yeah, I might do it for you. So it's like you're not letting people down. It's actually an ingenious invention. Kind of like how we say, hey, Kory, how you doing? I'm good.
Oh, that's
really?
just a lie.
Well,
I guess the word try is a lie. Like, I tried to get it done. No, you just didn't do it.
It's literally a shedding of responsibility, is what good is what try is.
And there's another topic I would like to cover in another podcast. Mm-hmm. To take, well, we could talk about it right now. Take complete responsibility for your life. Mm-hmm. Not just accept where you are, but realize that the blame can't be put on anyone else.
Right.
Actually, you shouldn't even put blame on yourself, but responsibility is a much better word for it. Just to realize that where you are right now is, you could say, the result of all the choices you made, or you could just look at where you are right now, in the present moment. And realize that however you felt about any situation, however you feel about your situation right now, you are responsible for. So whether you do something or not, like you're saying, you're responsible for that. If you do it, you chose to do that. If you didn't do it, you chose not to do that.
Exactly.
And neither way is right or wrong is another thing I want to get to. Everything that has happened up to this certain point is perfect as it has happened, because it couldn't have happened any other way.
Exactly. And one last thing, I guess, on this I can't, and then I do have one other idea I want to interject real quickly, and then we'll see where that takes us. We'll probably wrap up pretty soon here. I mean, we could talk all day, honestly, but we are normal living people, and we do have other things we're going to go do after this. Probably. We might sit and meditate for days. No.
We are in the mountains.
Yes.
It is beautiful
It
up
is
here.
gorgeous. So this I can't, right? So now we move to the other side. When you say I can't do something, you're actually not giving yourself the opportunity to attempt it even. And again, the word attempt means not complete. However, I understand where most people are coming from in the beginning stages of this kind of awakening of yourself and your soul, is you will attempt things and you will fail. And that's okay, because as long as you keep on going, eventually you will complete that thing you want to complete. However, when you say the word I can't, you have taken away the opportunity. Now, think about how drastic this is. You are responsible for yourself, giving yourself an opportunity to change, or withholding that opportunity from yourself just by I can or I can't.
Because I can't do something is a belief. That's not anything grounded in reality. You think that you can't because you haven't yet. You know? You think... Okay, my dad, I was talking to him, and we were talking about going out into space and mining comets, you know? And he was telling me, oh, you and your sister should really get into the front of this space exploration thing. You're at the right age to go into it, and, you're smart enough, you could go back to school. Like, first off, I have no interest in that. But anyway, I said, Dad, you always come to me with these great ideas, and that sounds fantastic. You know, I could go up and mine some space rocks or whatever. Why don't you do that? And he said, oh, no, I can't, because I'm far too old. That's two beliefs right there that he has made for himself that he completely buys into. And he's only, early 50s, 52. If he were to live to the average age, I don't know what life expectancy is right now, like 70 to 80, maybe older than that.
I don't know, yeah.
But he'd have just as much time as anyone else, but he has it in his mind that he's too old to do anything but what he's currently doing. That he can't go out and try new things, so he'd better give these ideas to his kids so that maybe they could do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a belief. And you have all sorts of these beliefs about yourself. You mentioned weight loss. The people that believe that I can't, they have that idea in their head, so they're not going to try. whoa, I about used the word try there. So they're not going to do it.
Right.
They have a belief that they're, I can't lose the weight.
Well,
So-
and they may not even try, which even the word try does incur some action.
And see, try, I guess, is a useful word when you actually do something, but you don't reach the final goal.
Which would be quitting, yeah. So you're trying is really, if you're trying, you're really quitting because you either do something or you don't do it. You have and here's a quote that's actually on my wall. I'm looking at it right now. It says, "You can't manage what you don't measure." Most likely, it's going to be really hard to lose weight if you don't know where you're starting and you don't know where you're going. That's a pretty common one for most people. They say, I'm 150 pounds. I want to be 130 pounds. And that's pretty straightforward. Now, people lack this measurement or the application of this idea, can't manage what you don't measure, in many other areas. And the person that taught this to me actually was my girlfriend Morgan. And she started all these little charts that are on the wall right here. And we literally have the year printed out in check boxes, right? We have January, February, and there's all the check boxes for the amount of days in those months. And on the top, one says fitness for Spencer, one says fitness for Morgan. And that is if we worked out that day or not. Not that you should work out every day. I would consult a health...
We'll get onto that when we talk about fitness.
Right.
We'll share everything that we do and the importance of rest days and such. I want to add something here real quick. Mm-hmm. Just to add it from a different perspective that we can talk about. When you go to do something, having a goal is very helpful to know where you want to reach. But I also believe in the not setting of goals. Having something that you want to do and doing it and seeing where it takes you. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's more from an artistic standpoint, very helpful.
Right.
Like if you sit down and say, I want to write a song, and then you set a goal that I want it to be beautiful and sound just like this, and you're working only from what you know. Mm-hmm. When you don't set a goal of exactly what you want to do, and see, for a weight loss thing, that is very measurable. But from an artistic standpoint, that's not exactly measurable in those terms.
Right.
So when you don't set a specific goal, you just sit down to write a song and you start writing it, then you have no idea where it's going to take you. It could take you somewhere you never even imagined, something that's never been done before, because you're not coming from anything that you've done. With a goal, though, you're coming from only what you know.
Right. Yeah, we'll have to do a whole show, a whole episode on Kory really breaking that down, because he obviously understands this very well, and it's a beautiful subject, and really that kind of goes into, it kind of goes into a little deeper frame of mind where you have to understand what you want to do, and then, but beyond that, it goes deeper for this reason. You have to understand why you want to do those things, and then why. So you start. You
got me a little excited there because I can't wait to get to that.
Yeah,
that why versus what.
You have to question the question. It's kind of like
why versus how, actually.
Right. How am I going to do this? And then you might ask yourself, well, why am I asking how am I going to do this when I could just do this? And then you say, well, why am I even concerned with that? And then you can say, well, why? And you see it begins this cascading step downward into the depth of basically, I feel like at the end of all these questions, you really find out that, to quote Alan Watts, everything is nothing.
We'll get into nothing, too. Don't you worry.
Yeah, we will be talking about nothing.
We are all very much nothing, and so are you, and that just makes us everything, and it's beautiful, and everything is perfect as it is, and we should probably sign off.
I think we should, yeah.
From the Kory and Spencer and Kory show, I'm Kory, this is Spencer, and Morgan just rejoined us to sign off.
See you guys later.
See you guys later.
See ya.
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 Later.
See ya.